check out this video because there's genuinely a lot more to it than you might think.
Drop it down the road, take a spin on the big mud tires. Hold on tight for the ride of your life. Yeah, it's going down tonight. Let's get turned around in this one-horse town. Giddy up nice and slow. Party till the drive ain't gonna stop. Yes, that's how country rolls. Let's go.
People do often say the sights of these bonfires.
So I've got to say, on the surface it just looks like an English guy living in America. But I have to say, I find it to be a very relatable video because I'm from Leicester, and Leicester is only something like 35%, it's like a third of the population of Leicester is actually white English people. The majority now is foreign and foreign born. And foreign born is sort of South Asian, like, you know, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Indian, stuff like that. And what my biggest gripe with it is not the fact that they aren't born here. Like, yes, being English is its own thing, and I'm very, very passionate that that needs to remain the vast majority in this country. But I do have a couple of friends, one of which I think is like grandparents from Lebanon or something like that. But they moved over here because of the fact that England, back in, what was this, like the 80s? England had the values that they wanted to move to. It was a Christian nation, and at the time where they lived, the Christians were coming under threat, and there was a big Muslim takeover and stuff like that. And so they moved here because of that, and then their subsequent children, their grandchildren, grew up being told that the UK is amazing, that this is the place, this is a Christian land. And I have another friend, and other than his name is a giveaway. He might as well be called like Mr. Kalashnikov. You know, other than the fact that he's got a foreign name, you really wouldn't know that he's not just an English person. I understand that, you know, when you do, like a DNA test, that sort of thing, you can come back as 100% English, or you can come back as 100%, I don't know, like Ukrainian, whatever it might be. But to be honest, I visually sometimes can't really tell the difference between, you know, like an Englishman and, say, a Frenchman or something like that, Irish. You know, there's giveaway signs and stuff like that sometimes, but not all the time. So having some, like a large population come over from somewhere like the USA, okay, the reason that guy worked so well, an Englishman in America, is because America was founded by the English. So having another Englishman move over there is just like having another founder move over. It's not the same as the UK taking in 1 million Bangladeshis and they think, act and look nothing like us. They're just completely different people. Having an Englishman go to America, having an Australian go to Canada, you know, these very similar groups of people, which, if we're honest, they're all just one form or another of Englishmen moving from one of their English places to another, is not going to erode the fabrics of that society. They're not going to try and change things and eventually overthrow the government, which sounds like such a conspiracy thing. I know it's mental to even wrap your head around it, but you have to look at the Middle East and realise that hasn't always been like that. These places haven't always been these Islamic dumps that they are right now. That for a long time they were very westernized. So what people have to realise about these videos of, you know, this guy in America. I'm not going to show the video because it's a bit weird for me, I think, having other people's children like in my YouTube videos. But he has put a video up of his daughter. She's not very old. She looks like maybe 3 years old, 4 years old, something like that. And you literally cannot tell that she's not just like a native, not Native American, obviously, because they have actual Native Americans over there. Obviously, I'm used to being the native, but in America, the Europeans are not the natives. But you know what I mean, like just a European American. The reason you can't tell is because she is, like, I suppose, genetically identical to the European Americans over there. So, and she has the accent, she has the mindset, and she's still a child. But I remember when I went to school, like, I have memories that I now look back at of when I was at school, and in hindsight, these people would, you know, like non-uniform days, non-school uniform days, Indian girls come in like their weird veils and like stuff like that. That just doesn't happen if it's a European moving from one country to another. So I think what we have to think about is, obviously everyone's up in arms about immigration at the minute, and I want it to zero and stuff like that. I think in the reality of it, having migration isn't an issue. The issue is, where are the people from? You know, the term immigrant now has become incredibly negative, and I can 100% see why it's become so negative. But truthfully, I think we just have to use this video as an example that where the person is from is going to make more of a difference. Obviously, Leicester, for example, if it was only 35% white English because the other 65% was, say, Canadian, then it's going to change. It's going to change what we're like as a city, but not nearly as much as if it's 65% Pakistani, because the cultures between the English and the Canadians is not that different.